So this is the Khoodeelaar television channel being broadcast as part A on Sunday, the 22nd of October 2023. 22nd October 2004 was the day when we first staged the rally at the Greater X Street between Hanbury Street and Whitechapel Road against the Tower Hamlets Council, and we staged the rally, held the rally, organized the rally as part of the demand that Tower Hamlets Council stopped colluding with the Crossrail plot to dig a hole in the middle of Brick Lane. That was the rally that we held on the 22nd of October 2004. After that, several years went by and we continued to march, to protest, and to hold rallies, amongst other things, demanding that Tower Hamlets Council stopped its collusion. And the next big thing that happened by way of our public mobilization against Tower Hamlets Council was the Sunday, the 22nd of January 2006, that was held at the Brady Centre in the Hanbury Street. Absolute support for the rally, for the demand, was clear. There was no opposition whatsoever. Despite the fact that a number of councillors from Tower Hamlets Council did speak, they spoke as a result of the conspiracy that had been hatched by councillors who had interfered with the organizing of the demonstration, of the rally. But the atmosphere was such that they didn't have the confidence. None of the councillors who spoke had the confidence to say one single word in support of the council's collusion with the Crossrail whole plan, whole plot. This was something that had never happened. This was not something that ever happened because this was a Tower Hamlets Council, the local council, mainly led by Bangladeshi origin councillors. And the targeting of Brick Lane by Crossrail hole plotters was aimed at attacking the settlement of the area that became synonymous with the Bangladeshi community. So, for 100 years or so, the Bangladeshi community had settled in Tower Hamlets, but politically there was no evidence that the community had openly rejected, openly condemned the councillors who were from the Bangladeshi community in the main. And this actually continued. The condemnation of the council, Tower Hamlets Council, continued for 6-7 years until the Crossrail hole plotters gave up, with the initial initial concession being mouthed by Ken Lying Still Livingston, who was in the post second term of his post as incumbent mayor at the expense of London. Ken Lying Still Livingston only acted because we had mobilized the representation by the BBC's politics show, which broadcast an item against Crossrail on Sunday, the 26th of March 2006. And that actually convinced Ken Lyings to Livingston that the campaign was going forward very strongly. And there was no support in the local community for the Crossrail hole plot against Brick Lane community. So that was 2006. But that was not the end of the engagement. The Crossrail bill in the House of Peers continued, and they pretended that they were going to go ahead. And in 2008, a group of members of the House of Peers Crossrail Committee visited Brick Lane, visited Hanbury Street, and they even plotted to have me arrested on any flimsy pretext. I have never said anything illegal or done anything illegal, but they plotted to create a diversion by threatening me with arrest if I didn't stop speaking. Well, I stopped speaking because I didn't want the diversion. Essentially, that visit by the group of peers, members of the Peers Committee and the Peers Crossrail Bill Committee in the House of Peers, which was the second tier, if you like, of the bill, resulted in the House of Peers failing to find any evidence of any support from the community for the Crossrail hole plot. And a lot of lies the Peers Committee spewed about our campaign went on the record. And they made up things that we were not going to attend the hearings, which was absolute pack of lies. Here were we, the campaign that actually was actively campaigning against the Crossrail hole plot, being accused of not attending. That was the last thing that we would do. So they said things like they didn't know whether Mr. Haque would appear. That was a lie. They didn't know whether the Khoodeelaar campaign would appear. That was a lie. And a lying employee in the House of Peers, Crossrail Select Committee, lied as well about the many communications that I sent to them, both opposing the plot, opposing the bill, and opposing any ground that they actually inserted as part of the reasons for the Crossrail hole plot. All of that is on the record. So let's see if I can find one sample. So there are communications dated the 13th of August 2008, 13th of August 2008, 13th of August 2008, 13th of August 2008, 12th of August 2008, 12th of August 2008, 11th of August 2008, 8th of August 2008, and so on. So there are all sorts of evidence consistently rejecting both the communications from Tower Hamlets Council and from the House of Lords, House of Peers. The evidence of communication from Anata Pedretti. The Crossrail Bill Committee they sent to Anata Pedretti on 17th of, in March 2008. And she writes to me in the Khoodeelaar campaign and to copy it to K. Jordan. Yet another bulky package from the CLRL, that is the Crossrail Committee. Again, the timing of irrelevant X-rail missives, intent on distracting, not to say misdirecting, attention, or as Mr. Horton put it, shouting at the broadside of vessels we are not actually sailing, was such that arriving home after Thursday's hearing, with more to think about than I could fit into the weekend, I find a bulky CLRL envelope posted 12:30 addressed to me containing a 7-page letter to Mr. Graham Seeley, Department of Technical Services Manager, Spitalfields Housing Association, apparently responding to 5 points CLRL took away from Spitalfields, a 13-page document, Crossrail information. Let me know should you wish me to pass any of the material on to you. Please note, I am neither a member of the liaison panel nor have I requested any of this information. Secondly, they are sending things to me to boost the list of supposed community representatives on the panel, etc., etc. So there is a whole lot of irrelevant intrusion by the CLRL. In other words, having chosen to plot their alignment through this area, the onus, short of practicing full blown racist and other but related opportunities, is upon CLRL to participate. That is Anata's email. Realizing the difficulty, begin to and the government would find it easy they can continue within their jargon to simply deal with a few piles and the legal department of a few city firms. Aneta has sent quite a few emails. They're mostly in March 2008. And she is not impressed by the House of Lords inundating her with all these bulky package. Sent. Contest. We demanded that they end that plot, and they refused. But they didn't say they were refusing. They just repeated the lies and the untruths, and they had no reason. And it went on for, I think, well, for 24 minutes. Let's check and the coverage by the Guardians, let's say, for is confusing, contradictory. And the coverage by the Daily Mail, the Mail on Sunday, is even more confusing and more contradictory. And the position stated on behalf of the American President Joe Biden, who visited Israel, shows that Biden is as confusing and as contradictory as the British versions, but the contradictions and confusions are different. And this applies to Rishi Sunak, the incumbent in the post of UK Prime Minister. He is reported as saying one thing in one outlet and is reported as saying another thing in another outlet. And the United Nations is not behaving as the United Nations. The United Nations is not behaving as the international organization that it should be behaving as. It's hardly there. We shall be ending this particular short edition, after 26 minutes, nearly 27 minutes. And we shall continue in the next editions when they follow.